Louisville football dropped its first game of the season, falling 31-24 at Notre Dame in a game where they kind of gave it away. Multiple miscues, turnovers, punts over their head, blown coverages, you name it. Didn't go well for the Cardinals. Kind of an ugly game, and they were still had an opportunity to tie it and force it into overtime late in the game. Let's hike about it. We are at Warren Dunes State Park, just north of South Bend, across the border into Michigan. Warren Dunes State Park is on the banks of Lake Michigan. Let's go check it out. So what do we like from this Louisville football game against the Irish? They lost 31-24. We don't like that. You go deeper into the numbers. What do we like? Louisville outgained the Irish. The defense overall, once it ended, kept the Irish to their lowest offensive total yards performance of the season. Gave up some big plays. But what I like was you're down 21-7 after a bunch of miscues in that first quarter. They don't quit. And that's something that we've seen, a defining characteristic of this Louisville team, is they're a no-quit team. Almost despite all the miscues they made, the turnovers, the bad snap, I mean, on and on, some poor play calling, still had an opportunity to drive down the field in the final minutes and tie the game up or potentially win it with a two-point conversion. What stopped them? Shot themselves in the foot once again with a delay of game. Next play, 4th and 6, incomplete, ball game over. Got to really clean that up. So there's some good, love the no quit. Some bad, the mistakes are continuing to happen. Something I didn't like, and this is a continuing trend, officiating. I was grading the officiating. My wife says I should, without hesitation. F. I mean, maybe it's occurred before, but I'd like to have a sit down with the official and have him explain this to me. Pass interference on the defense, pass interference on the offense. What? Shoulder pad of Colin Lacey flapping in the wind. Colin Lacey's eyes seem like they never lose track of the ball, focused on one thing. Meanwhile, he's essentially getting tackled. And again, offsetting penalties. What's some I liked? Isaac Brown. That dude's a stud. Displayed his ability to catch the ball really well. And that first touchdown, the 10-yard pass at the corner of the end zone from Tyler Shuck. This is a big hill. Getting the Cardinals their first 7. What an exciting start to that first quarter that was. The rest of the quarter, yeah, it was pretty ugly. But Isaac Brown, 70+ yards on the ground, 5.5 yards per carry, touchdown reception. Continue to like him, and really excited to see how his future continues to pan out for the Cardinals. Great start for that true freshman. Yeah, this is a hill made of sand. Whew. Let's talk quarterbacks to get this thing going. Tyler Shuck, Louisville quarterbacks have gotten nothing but really good grades so far this season. A's through all the first games. Turned in another solid performance against Notre Dame, throwing for over 260 yards, had 3 touchdown throws. Saw him use his feet. Unfortunately, 46-yard run resulted in a fumble, costly. You also have to consider, part of the blame on the 4th down play late at the game when they were driving to try to get it into overtime or potentially take the lead on a 2-point conversion. I don't want to give all the blame to Tyler Shuck, but he's the quarterback. He's directing the team on the field, so some of the blame has to sit on his shoulders. Through his first interception, I really don't want to put that on his shoulders. There's a nice throw to Ja'Cory Brooks. Bounced off his hands, a catch Ja'Cory Brooks has got to make right into the hands of the Notre Dame defender. So when you look at the whole picture of Tyler Shuck and the quarterback's performance, he being the only quarterback that played against Notre Dame, I'm gonna give him a B this time. You gotta be crisper in late game situations like that. You gotta be more aware, of tucking the ball. You can't let that turnover happen. It was, again, a costly turnover. So quarterbacks getting a B for their performance against Notre Dame. Running backs, Isaac Brown continues to show that he's just a star in the making, rushing for 73 yards, 5.5 yards per carry. Had a great touchdown catch as well to start the scoring for the Cardinals. Touchdown, 10 yards to start the game. Back corner of the end zone, great throw from Tyler Shuck. Great catch from Isaac Brown. Overall, the Cards ran for over 100 yards. Could have done a little bit better, but still, certainly banged up. The fourth down play, Don Chaney, Jeff Brom put the blame on his own shoulders. Jeff Brom put the blame on Jeff Brom's shoulders, not Donald Chaney's shoulders. That fourth down play where they were trying to get out to the edge and just couldn't do it. I thought the stutter step, though, by Don Chaney when he was trying to fake off a Notre Dame defender really killed his momentum there and limited the Cards' chances of getting that first down. Of course, if we were going to grade the officials, they would have to come into the picture as here as well, because you can make an argument that he did make a first down. But you got to be more direct, you got to be more forceful, and you got to be more aggressive to get to that spot. Overall, really loved, again, Isaac Brown's performance. Keywan Brown had a couple nice runs. I'm going to give the running backs a solid B for their performance against Notre Dame. Wide receivers. Saw the return of Colin Lacey. What a freaking reach back, grab it. What a catch. Post game, he talked to us and he was asked the question, when were you cleared to go? And his response was, by myself or by the trainer? The trainer just cleared him a few days ago, earlier in the week before the game. Colin Lacey said, hey, I've been wanting to get back on the field since he got hurt. And he had circled the Notre Dame game as the one that he would return in. And wow, certainly caught the attention. One of the top plays in the country last Saturday. Corey Brooks, I mentioned, another solid game for him, but you can't not catch that perfect pass from Tyler Shuck and let it bounce into the Notre Dame hands. When you're playing on a road in a game like that, you can't make miscues. Other receivers did get involved, but overall, I'm going to give the wide receivers also a B. Tight ends. Jamari Johnson had a nice catch late in the game. Mark Redmond had a 9-yard reception. Mark Redmond also had a drop pass. Jamari Johnson was targeted 5 times, finished with 2 receptions. Other than that, kind of not really noticeable. And that's a position that a lot of people were expecting a lot more out of this season for the Cardinals. Tight ends against Notre Dame, we're going to give you a C. Sure is different hiking on sand. You know what else is different? Terrible segue. The performance of the Louisville offensive line is a little different than I was anticipating. And against Notre Dame, clearly their toughest outing of the year. Tyler Shuck sacked 3 times. He's hit another 8 times. He's running frequently. Things you just can't have happen when you want to win against a team like that on the road. Got to play tighter. This is an offensive line with a lot of expectations that came into the season, and we're not seeing the level of performance that was expected. The offensive line against Notre Dame, C-. Defensive line. First quarter, but after that, improved quite a bit. They helped the Louisville defense keep Notre Dame to its lowest offensive total yards performance of the season. Yep. Other than a few big runs, Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard, especially early in the game, they started holding him in check. And outside of that, kind of held the Notre Dame ground game in check for the most part. The defensive line against Notre Dame, B+. Linebackers. Stanquan Clark, you're getting me excited about your progression. Stanquan Clark continues to take steps up. A couple big plays defensively. TJ Quinn had a couple nice stops. Injured, was great to see him come back as well. But still a group that I think could do better, especially against those mobile quarterbacks. And again, did tighten up as the game proceeded. So for the linebackers against Notre Dame, B-. The secondary, tough day for the secondary, and you knew it would be. After Quincy Riley came out, he's dealing with a high ankle sprain, came out, was warming up, was taking snaps, went back in the locker room, got dressed, came back out, was working with the punt team, catching some punts. And I stood there and watched him for a while, and you could see a limp, You can see an occasional grimace of pain. And then when the team came back out, he was back in street clothes. So you knew it was going to be a tough out for the secondary from the get-go. Then Tavion Nicholson also not really able to go. Gave it a try, but just wasn't as impactful as you needed him to be. And some key plays given up by the secondary, kind of making Riley Leonard look like a better of a passing quarterback than he is. But again, tough day for the secondary against the Irish. I'm going to drop them with a C-, expecting a big jump up when the Cardinals play next week when SMU comes to L&N Stadium. Hopefully we'll see Quincy Riley back in the lineup at much more closer to 100%. Same with Tavion Nicholson. But against the Irish, the secondary gets a C-. Special teams. Congrats to Brock Travelstead for setting the school record 56-yard field goal, much needed field goal that pulled the Cardinals back within a touchdown. Snap over the punter's head earlier in the game, proved very costly, led to an easy 4-yard touchdown run for Riley Leonard. Again, miscues continue to really hurt the Cardinals, kind of almost for a second game in a row. I mean, Louisville was able to obviously beat Georgia Tech, but you've got to really shore those up if they plan on contending for the ACC championship. But the special teams, for their performance, some good, some really bad. You deserve a C. Overall against the Irish, offense, B-, defense, C+, officiating, F, play calling, new addition to the report card here. Post game, head coach Jeff Brown put a lot of the blame on his own shoulders. Play calling 4th down where they had Don Channing on the side. He goes, "That's my bad." The miscues, "That's my bad." Which that's what you want to hear from your head coach. Some of the play calling, B- for the play calling. Thanks for going hiking with Michael McCammon. Cardinals now 3-1, still 1-0 in the ACC, still a clear path to get the ACC championship, still a clear path to get the college football playoff. Still, you can make an easy argument that Louisville should be 4-0 on this Sunday. But they are not. Louisville had his first difficult road test and failed. Difficult place to play, but the team, the coaches, all let themselves be impacted by the road venue, by the noise. It played a role, without question. So the Cardinals must now regroup. We got SMU coming to L&N Stadium next Saturday. Kickoff is at noon. Mustangs coming off a home blowout win over Florida State. Seminoles seem like they have just given up. The Mustangs now 4-1 on the season. Still making a claim to be one of the top teams in the ACC this year. So Cardinals with a big matchup next weekend against the Mustangs. So the Cardinals 3-1. They're going to try to rebound next week when they welcome SMU to L&N Stadium. We'll have a report card after that game as well. But for now, I'm gonna get the car, I'm gonna grab a water, stop for a Dr. Pepper, flip a U-turn here in Michigan, and make my way back to the Ville, which is somewhere in some direction